All right, folks, it is the guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for another edition of Business with Benefits. To my right, we have the wonderful Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money. This is the first time I think I've had somebody that had an AKA just like me. I'm the bow tie guy, you're Madam Money. Yeah, I'm
Right.
trying to think of AKA, so it's cool to have two personalities together right now.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't get blocked by LinkedIn, but this is going to be fun.
Perfect. So for those of you that don't know, in the first way, say thanks to hashtag Team Replay or Team Live. Please let us know. You see in the bottom it's scrolling across. If you're Team Live, put hashtag Team Live. Let us know where you are. If you're Team Replay, do the same thing. We appreciate the views. And right now we're talking about the CARE Act and stimulating your finances during this time. But before we get deep into that, kind of let people know who you are and why they should listen to you.
Wow. Why you should listen to me? You should listen to me because I'm out of money. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, because of that. And I'm cute. Yeah. My name is Tara Jackson, aka Madam Money. I have been in the financial services industry for more than 25 years, which completely lies about my age. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I matriculated from being a loan officer all the way to an interim president and CEO of a credit union in Atlanta, Georgia. So I've pretty much done every job in the financial services industry. What I did find when I was working in there is I could sell debt very good. And that hit my conscience maybe about 10 years ago. And I realized that a lot of consumers were playing checkers when financial services was playing chess. And it wasn't that financial institutions were cheating. They were just playing by a whole different set of rules than consumers knew or were taught. And most consumers are not taught the financial game. And so I wrote a book, actually, Financial Fornication, about 11 years ago to help people giggle a little bit, but to understand a little bit about the financial game and credit, how I was financially promiscuous with my credit cards and ended up with financial STDs, substantially tremendous debt. And I realized a lot of people resonated with that because talking about money is very hard for a lot of people, very sensitive topic. So made it fun and giggled a little bit, but help people to understand this chess game that financial institutions are playing so they have a fighting chance to win. Hence, Madam Money was born, right? So several years, from speaking, I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of financial commentary with networks, Fox News, Al Jazeera News, and I've been on Bravo. I really, really like to resonate with people like you, like you're my friend. I want to talk to us who really need to know what's going on a high level and break it down to a lower level. I did recently do another book, of course, The 4 Financial Languages. So I had to help people understand their financial language, their dominant financial language, understand how to communicate because, and how you need to be communicated, and also learn your partner's financial language. So it's a little spinoff of the 5 love languages, but it's about your 4 financial languages. So I keep my eye and my ear to the ground as it relates to what's going on nationally and internationally, dealing with finances as much as possible and try to share as much as possible so that we understand.
Okay, perfect. So you and I, we met a long time ago on LinkedIn. You've probably been using the platform as long as I have. And then I kind of just saw, who's this Madam Money talking about financial fornication? And it did catch my attention as something fun and whimsical to make it kind of a boring topic more interesting. So did you name yourself Madam Money or was that given to you?
Actually, it was given to me by a little old lady in a church.
Okay.
I was right after I wrote the book, Financial Fornication. A church, I thought I was going to be ostracized from all churches. I just thought they were going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and everything. But they actually embraced it because we all need to be delivered from financial fornication, right? And I spoke at this conference for the Church of God in Christ.
Okay.
And this lovely 80-year-old woman came up to me and she said, "So, financial fornication, I guess you are the Madam of Money. I guess I should call you Madam Money." And I said, "I guess you should." And then I was like, I kind of like that. And had somebody create a logo.
Okay.
Madam Money was born. So I have to shout out to the little 80-year-old lady over about 11 years ago that pegged me my moniker.
I love it. I think the best names come by accident because I mean, mine were just I would cold call people on the phone and meet them at a Starbucks, and they would say, "Hey, how will I know who you are?" And I said, "Oh, I'll be the guy with the bow tie." And my mentor was like, "Oh, guy with the bow tie, I like that." And I was like, "Huh, okay, it'll be a thing." So those seem to work out best.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said. Oh, the bow tie guy. Okay, yeah. I like that.
It became a thing. But right now we're in weird times. Obviously, the coronavirus is going on. I feel like week 5 now or so, probably, depending on where you are. So a lot of things have happened in government with regards to the CARES Act. So I've talked to clients that are kind of like, hey, I don't know what this is or where I should go. Should I go to my bank or what I should do? So kind of give some, high level tips or information about the CARES Act for small businesses that are on LinkedIn to figure out what to do.
Well, the CARES Act is really focused on the individual taxpayers. There are some relief that's been put in place. They've allotted millions of dollars, billions of dollars to businesses and larger industries in that. But the major thing about the CARES Act is what individual taxpayers are going to receive or joint taxpayers. So how they're going to determine who's going to get the money is based on your tax returns. If you filed your 2019 taxes, and if you didn't file 2019 yet, who filed 2018, right? So just because the IRS has extended when the taxes are due, I recommend that you file your taxes as soon as possible. The other thing I would recommend is if you made a significant amount, say you made over the maximum amount, which is $99,000 per individual. If you made over that amount or made over $75,000, but you didn't quite make $75,000 in 2019, I would recommend that you file your 2019 as soon as possible because they're going to determine how much you're going to get based on your individual and joint tax return and what you receive. So if you're an individual and you made less than $75,000, you're going to get $1,200. If you made more than $75,000, it starts weaning off. So say you made $80,000, you'll get $950, all the way up to $99,000, and you'll get $0. Right? So it's the same for joint. If you have a joint tax return and jointly you made $150,000, then you're going to get $2,400. And then it scales upwards. So if you make $198,000 joint, you get nothing, right? So it could be that 2018 was a really, really great year. 2019, not so much. It sucked. You might want, this is the one time when it sucks, you want to tell the IRS.
Yeah.
It sucks, right? And if you have dependents, you have children, eligible dependent children, you'll get $500 per eligible child. So if there's a family of 4, you can, get up to like $4,200.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you file your taxes because that's how they're going to determine. Now, the other thing is, how are you going to get the money? Well, the information of how you're going to get the money is in your tax return. So if you filed it and you get your refund through direct deposit and they have your banking information, which is what they prefer, then you'll get a direct deposit from the IRS. If you did not and you receive your refunds in the form of a check, then you're going to receive it in the form of a check and it's going to be delayed. It's just going to be delayed. They were saying when a lot of people ask me, when am I going to get the money? I want to know that too, right? So when you're going to get your money is, they said 3 weeks. That was about a week and a half ago, which weeks is around April 15th, April 17th timeframe. So people should start seeing direct deposits coming in next week, I believe that is, or the week after. We'll see. We're all looking at our bank accounts, waiting for that heavy deposit. But if you are getting checks, it's more than likely going to be extremely delayed in that. So they're going to help out with that. So those are some of the things that you want to, even though you may be a business owner, you still file individual taxes or joint taxes.
Right.
And that is how they're going to determine. Now, there are some loans that are out there for business owners where the SBA is doing disaster recovery loans, and that could be up to $2 million. You can apply for that, but you still have to have your taxes in order. Consult with your accountant. Get with your accountant That's very important. So they make sure that you have the information that you need to be able to apply. Some of those are refundable if you are paying, if it's being used to pay employees. Not refundable, but you don't have to pay it back. So it's forgivable. Some of it is forgivable if you do that. And it's a very, very low interest rate, lower than you can get at a financial institution. So the great thing is that the IRS and the SBA are working with financial institutions to make sure that they can get the money out to the taxpayers and the business owners as soon as possible.
Okay, so let's look at some of that real quick. You covered a lot. Thank you. That made it much clearer, because the news, the one thing about children, that was always kind of gray, the thing about children being covered. But on the loan side, so I've talked to some clients who are saying, hey, I'm going through my bank. I'm in some queue waiting forever to kind of get approved. So with everybody asking for this pot of money, what do you think the best course of action? Is it the bank, or is it going right to the SBA website, or kind of a combination of the two?
I would go to the SBA site and I would apply. One, they're going to give you what the criteria is and what you're going to need. Talk to your accountant. Accountants have been briefed on what is necessary. So there are several accountants that are sharing this information of, what you're going to need, and you are going to need your financials. But I would definitely go to the source, go to the IRS, go to the SBA to file that in application. Now, the financial institutions may have their own forgiveness program, their own loan program. I say you can apply there too, but you need to apply, and don't say no for everyone. You're like, oh, I'm not going to apply. I'm a small business owner. I don't make millions of dollars and all of that. I don't, they're not going to approve me. Don't say no for them. Still apply for those, especially unemployment. There is new unemployment benefits that are catering to people that are out of work or can't do their business because of the coronavirus. So there are new things that are out there. So make sure that you apply for the unemployment benefits. You apply for the SBA disaster loan recovery, and try to see if you can get the cash from somewhere, if you're financially impacted.
Okay, and we had a question coming relevant to that. Somebody said, I may not be able to file my taxes this year. Will I still get a stimulus check?
If you didn't file it for 2019, they're going to yield back to 2018. So hopefully you filed 2018. If you didn't file 2018, you won't get a stimulus.
So the definite benchmark is at least 2018.
At least 2018.
Okay, perfect. And so I'm going to talk more about the business loan side, because there's a portion that's kind of confusing to people where there's a $10,000 advance for independent contractors, business owners, things of that nature, that's separate from the loan, or am I understanding that incorrectly?
From my understanding, it's a part of the loan. They're just giving you an advance. It could be a portion of it could be forgivable, but you want to read the fine print and consult with your accountant with that. I'm still learning the details specifically for the entrepreneurs, because I am one as well. So I am going to be applying for as many. And case in point, I've been impacted. We talked about this, offline. I have been impacted with my business. My business is speaking engagements, right? Yep. I make majority of my money through speaking engagements. People pay me money to talk about money. Right. So 3 of those speaking engagements were canceled because of the coronavirus. And those 3 engagements totaled $10,000 worth of revenue that I'm not going to get, because they're not rescheduling and they're not doing a virtual. So they're not going to pay me. So they just canceled. And that's 3. And that we planned that last year. So that was a part of my projections. My financial projections was that inflow of cash. Well, that's not going to happen. And I can't do other speaking engagements right now because there was a lot of events. I was supposed to go overseas out of the country to do that. I can't do that right now. So I'm going to file the unemployment. I'm going to file the SBA. I'm going to file for as many benefits as possible. And I love that your son just walked in the screen.
Yeah, my daughter's right over here checking out.
Love that your daughter just walked in.
Hey, hi.
Hey, boo. Oh, she's so cute. Yes. Oh, I love it. See, I told you. Family has no respect on any type of live. It's awesome.
She's always been trying to get on here. So with the small businesses, so some of them are saying I'm too prideful to ask for that. I shouldn't do that. Is your suggestion kind of just do it because you don't know how long the thing's going to last? Is that kind of a idea?
Pride is going to put you in the poorhouse. My pride almost put me in a poorhouse. And so right now we can't afford to be prideful because we don't know how long this is going to last. They say that they want us to go back next month, but I've never seen a pandemic that was cured in a few weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if we think back in the 1918s, it started in 1918. People weren't really trying to get out and move until 1922. So I'm not saying that it's going to last 4 years, but it's probably not going to just last a few weeks if it's a worldwide pandemic. Now, if it was just a flu season, okay, we'll get over that. The problem is that they don't have a cure and they can't control the symptoms. And people that are asymptomatic can still spread it. And those that are susceptible, you know, old in age, their immune system is compromised, you know, whatever, it's deadly. So we have to be very careful. We don't know how long that's going to last or when the cure, and there's no antidote, you know, or cure. So if anything, you want to do it just for risk management. It's not about pride. It's about risk management in a business. Every major corporation has a risk management department. An entrepreneur is no different. You may not need the cash, but you want to have it in place just in case this goes out longer than we anticipate, and you have it available.
That makes sense. I mean, I know the restaurant industry has been rocked by this heavily, and some of them are still doing okay with takeout and delivery. But something I was reading the other day was showing like 15,000 retail stores might close permanently as a result of this. 3 million restaurant employees have been laid off just in 3 weeks. So I think it is a good idea to have something in reserve just in case. So for businesses that are kind of in this odd space of revenues impacted, I don't know if I'm going to stay open right now. What's kind of your advice for them to kind of help figure this thing out? Because I know some of them just won't make it, but should they kind of try to save that business, you think, or kind of plan to divert the funds to something else?
Well, this is the time where we start pivoting our mindsets and start changing the way we do business, right? So it's forcing us to have to change our thought process of business and the normal way of doing business. And I equate it to somebody that says, oh, I need to exercise and I need to lose weight and I need to eat more healthy. And we say, oh, I need to do it. And then 2 years later, you end up with a heart attack. And now you are forced to eat healthy and eat right. This is the worldwide heart attack. And so now we are forced to think about doing business differently. And so how can we turn our face-to-face business into a virtual business? If it's not something that we can do, then it may be something that we need to pivot into another business model or another type of business. You know, a lot of my friends, for example, I'll give an example. One of my best friends is a bartender. And I've been trying to tell him he needs to get a business, a side business or whatever. The restaurant is closed down. They're doing takeout, but he's a bartender, right? So they don't really have a need for bartenders right now. So I told him, you know what? People, you know, since the liquor stores are an essential business, thank God. So I was like, you can be a virtual bartender. There is so many people that like the way you mix drinks that can't mix drinks, and they really need a drink right now. You know, you can let them know, hey, I'll make your favorite drink so you can have a party at home for this amount. Are you interested? You can Cash App, PayPal, whatever. And as long as you have the appropriate liquor license and you're established correctly, you know, you can become a virtual bartender, and that way they can send you the money. You can buy the drinks, you can mix them up, you can deliver it and put it on their front door with the social distancing. You can still do that. I mean, he decided he was going to do that because he did formulate his business, and I recommend you do it correctly. And he did have a liquor license, right? It's because it was required by his state and his county to have a liquor license if you're a bartender. Well, he did that, and he sent out text messages, and 8 of those people said, please, yes. No, when can you bring it? And so he was able to make some money just in that 1 week doing something he already does. He just did it at home. So it made him have to shift his mindset of his business model. He couldn't rely on his job anymore because he didn't have one. So he had to still put food on the table for his new baby. He just had a baby literally 6 weeks ago. It was like 3 weeks right before the pandemic. Well, a week or 2 weeks before the pandemic. So, you know, he has to do something. So that's what businesses have to do. There are some businesses that are just not going to make it. They weren't prepared for it. You know, who is really prepared for a worldwide pandemic and quarantine? I didn't see that coming. I saw the recession coming.
Yeah.
Didn't see was coming because of a pandemic, though.
Well, that said was perfectly, because I mean, everybody kept saying a market correction is coming, a market correction is coming. This is way more than anybody projected for market correction. So for people that are kind of seeing daily news, the Dow dropped 900 points, the Dow dropped 700 points. What's kind of your insights on that for different people investing right now?
That's a very good question, because the market is going to continue to go down. If you keep watching the market, keep listening to the media, you're going to have heart palpitations and you're going to freak out. It's just right now, that is just what's going to happen with the market. And the market, I believe, has not bottomed out yet. My major concern is those that are planning to retire or have to retire within 2 to 5 years. Okay. So if you have to retire within 2 to 5 years and you have money that's our 401k, retirement savings account, IRA tied to the market right now, you should move that into something more safe. Consult with your financial advisor, your investment advisor, and move that over to something a little bit more stable because of the volatility of the market. Because if you still have money that's tied to the market right now, you're going to see more losses. And that means you're going to have to work longer, or you're going to have to dump more money into your investment savings to be able to recover. Now, if you have more than 5 years, 10 years to go, like if you're in your 30s, 20s, and maybe even 40s, and you plan on working for another 20 or more years, this is just a part of the market. The market goes up, it goes down, it goes up, and then there's a crash, and then it goes up, and then it goes down. So the progression of the market is always up and down, but it always goes up and down in an upward position. Right now, we're in a heavy decline within it. So for me, the market's on sale.
Yeah.
Now I'm mad because that blouse that I bought for $200 is now worth $50. But because I like the blouse so much, that means I can buy more blouses, because eventually the value of those blouses will go up in the future. Not tomorrow, but at least in the next 10 years, it's going to go back up. Case in point, like Nike. I have stock in Nike. I got stock in Nike when it was around 70 something bucks. It went down to almost $50. I think it was like 59 or something like that. Now, I cried for a little bit, but then I realized, it's on sale, so I can purchase more shares, right? Okay, cool. So now I have more shares. Now, it probably hasn't bottomed out, but I'm in the long-term game with that. Yeah. I'm in a marriage with Nike. I'm not dating Nike. So if you're a day trader, that hurts you. If you're in a marriage or an investor long-term, it's eventually going to go up. So I think right now people need to look at the market as an opportunity to get into certain stocks that are going to perform well once this is all over. Like you've got to, if you haven't invested in cruise lines or travel, it sucks right now. But as soon as this quarantine is lifted and all of these extroverts have cabin fever, you're going to see an increase in there. Yeah, I can get a round trip ticket from Philly to Atlanta, Georgia for less than $60 right now. Never seen that before in my life. But I can right now get a round trip ticket from Philly to Atlanta for less than $60. Now, I can be smart and say, you know what? I'm going to plan this out for November, buy my ticket now, because what if they lift it in August, or they lift it in June, or they lift it in May? Those tickets are going to go back up to $200, $300, right? So now is the time to start planning and getting it while the sale's going. You like to buy stuff on sales. The market's on sale, but it's not good for those that are going to retire. And my last point is now retirement is not it's not an age, it's a number. Yeah. So if your number, the dollar amount that you need to sustain your life, has been significantly reduced, that means that you're going to have to work longer. So that's why it's very important for those that are in their 60s and they're about to retire. Now you may have to work until 70. And, you don't want to do that. Hell, I don't want to work until I'm 50. But
well, that's a good point too, I think, because a lot of business owners, we know they're going to usually be older than the employees that serve them. So I see this kind of rub going on where they're saying, hey, I want to retire, but I need to take care of you as an employee because you're just starting out in life. So with this stimulus money that the businesses are getting, How much do you see the impact in these small businesses? Because they're the most hurt, but how much do you see the impact in the small business owner that's kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
Well, it depends on, if they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, they probably want to get out, right? If they're in it to win it, those what those programs are for. Even if you get the SBA loan and you have to pay it back, when they're stretching it out for like 30 years, so it's almost like a mortgage. But if it's a small amount and the interest rate is ridiculously low, lower than the mortgage rates right now, and the mortgage rates are crazy. The Fed dropped the Fed rates, so they're to zero now. So this is a great time. And then a portion of it if you're paying your employees, that's forgivable. So if you're using the money to pay your employees, you're not open for business, but you still want to continue to pay your employees, that portion is forgivable. And again, contact your accountant. If you don't have an accountant, now is the time to get one, so that they can, one, prepare you so you can apply, and also to advise you on certain things that's going to help you, because they get those updates on a regular basis.
Okay. So this is an interesting question I got posed from somebody. They messaged it to me. What if you work for a business that you're up to date on the law of knowing there's stimulus money for the business owner, it's forgivable if they use it for the employee's wage, but the company is saying, nope, we're closing our doors, we're not doing that. What do you think an employee should kind of do in that position to kind of advocate for themselves and the other employees if they know there's money out there, but the owner is saying, I don't want to deal with it?
Well, I mean, it's the owner's prerogative. So if the owner chooses not to apply for that money for whatever reason to be able to sustain the business, that's the owner's prerogative. So it may be the employee's time. They can educate them and say, look, I'll help you or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the decision of the owner. And it's now the decision of the employee to determine if they want to continue to stay with that company, or they want to go to another company, or they want to start their own company. So you can't change someone's mind. You can influence them. You can even try to help them. But if they've made up their mind that that's not something that they want to do, they don't have to by law do it. They're not bound by law to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I see this being a big culture shift for businesses, because I just imagine places that have the latter happen where they say, nope, I'm just going to close my doors and open up in 6 months when this is done or whatever. Mm-hmm. I see a big hit to culture for businesses, because people remember that. They'll remember, like, you could have did something, but you didn't, and it was forgivable, or a small fee for you to pay. So what is it you hope that financially people learn from this crisis, whether a business owner or an employee?
For the business owner, the average business owner has about 30 to 45 days reserved, small business, right? Which now we see is not enough. It's just not enough to hold 30 days of reserves. And hopefully we'll be in a better position to plan for things like this now that we see that it can happen. It's like that young girl that says, sees everybody else getting pregnant, and she's like, oh, it's never going to happen to me, until it happens to her. Yep. So we are in that position right now. Oh, the pandemic is never going to happen to us until it happens to us, and it's happening now. So now that we understand how it's going to happen, we can now plan. I recommend business owners have a mindset of risk management, that you do, there's certain things that can happen. That's one of the things when I went to Wharton Business School, is I was in a CEO Institute. And one of the things they taught us is to do risk management. And we thought of everything that could go wrong. And then we created a model that could fix what went wrong, or to sustain the business during those certain times, whether it's a pandemic, whether it was a natural disaster, whether it was a robbery, whether, something burnt down. What were the things that could happen that could drastically impact the business? And what do we have in place to be able to recover from it, or to mitigate it or avoid it? So I think, in small businesses, we just love doing what we love doing. Yep. And if we don't like more marketing, we just won't do it. But that's one of the things of being a CEO, an owner of a company, that you do have to pay attention to it. So hopefully more small businesses will do that, or at least hire people to assist them with that process. For employees, I hope that they realize that sometimes it's better to become a dualpreneur. I have an organization that I founded called Dualpreneur, and those are employees who are also entrepreneurs, because I believe in the dual income engine, right? A passenger plane has at least 2 engines. at least 2 engines. And they do that for fail safe. In case one of them bad boys, those engines conk out, you still have at least 1 engine to keep you up in the air. And a lot of people have been doing that single engine income, that single river, that big river of income. And then when their river dries up, those multiple streams of bills still need to be paid.
Right.
So it requires multiple streams of income coming from different ways. So, for example, I had to pivot. I'm a speaker and I get paid to speak, but I also have a job where I do contracting with that. So, but they shut down. So there's no money coming from that. There's no money coming from the speaking engagement, but I built websites for 25 years. Now I stopped doing it because I didn't have the time. Now I have the time.
Yep.
No, it's not Corona, y'all. It's allergies.
The same thing happens to me. So, okay. So
we're careful now, because if we cough or sneeze, everybody wants us to put us in a hospital. But yeah, so it's important that you become a dualpreneur and start a side business to get that revenue coming in. So that's been good revenue. At least there's a stream of income coming in from that, as well as my book sales. So it's just a mindset of employees thinking like entrepreneurs or having entrepreneur ventures, so they have multiple streams of income coming in.
Okay, that's kind of a hope I have too. I think this whole thing kind of showed me the unpreparedness of the U.S. economy, because when restaurants are just instantly laying people off, they're usually saying turnover is a normal thing. They're going to say this is a normal thing. We just got to fire people when we get bad. So I hope that the change is the mindset of America changes, the planning ahead more for these kind of weird situations, because this is the first ever. We've obviously had, economic issue, but not where the whole economy just shut down. I think you said we lost 25% of our economy in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So now we're all hunkered down, as George is calling it, hunker down, and buried in our homes and all that. What is one, I know you're a financial wizard, so what's that one financial tip you think people should bear in mind when they're looking, bills got to get paid, things are tight? What's kind of one financial tip you can give people to help them during this time?
There's a few things that I need y'all to do. The first thing is, if you are not having money coming in, stop any automatic debits coming out of the account. Your automatic subscriptions, anything that's automatically coming out of your account, stop that, pause that, do that right now. Assess which ones have to be paid, and then pause the other ones, like you have that monthly membership of whatever that you may or may not use. Yeah, we need to stop that $9.99 coming out of your account right now. Just stop that. Assess your situation. How much money do you need? And then try to figure out how much is coming in. Contact your financial institutions. If you have loans, mortgages, car loans, whatever, contact your financial institutions. Most financial institutions, they have programs right now. They don't want the collateral. They don't want to repossess. They don't want to foreclose. They do not want to hold the collateral. They just want the money. But they understand a lot of people are suffering right now. So most of them have programs in place. So contact them and let them know, I'm not working. Do you have a program to assist me with this loan? And see what they have to help you with that. The next thing, if you are working, and maybe you haven't been financially impacted, right? But now you're not spending as much money, whether it's on gas, whether it's on daycare. Case in point, my girlfriend of mine, she's not paying for daycare right now. Her husband's still working. She still has her business. What they're doing is the money that they would have paid the daycare person, they're putting that money in a savings account. So they're building up their cash for reserves based on money they would have spent anyway, right? Another friend of mine, she went to Starbucks every single day. She can't go now. So she got the Starbucks and she's making coffee at home. But she would have paid $5 a day for a coffee. So she puts that $5 she just transfers it into her savings account because she would have spent that money anyway. The other thing is, if you're able to help someone, please do. For example, a friend of mine, they go to their neighborhood bar frequently. Okay, we won't say how many days, but frequently, right? And so what he decided to do, he said, Tara, I would have paid $150, say, for the week at this restaurant. So I just took 50% of that and just tipped my favorite bartender. I sent him a Cash App because he's not working. And so it's small things like that that can help each other get through it. build up our savings, but also protect what we have right now. And don't be so prideful not to apply for the assistance. Whether you need it or not, if you've been impacted right now, now is the time to apply for it, even if for risk management purposes.
Perfect. Well, Tara, those are great actionable tips, and I love the insights on business owners and the employees, just because we got to think differently now. I think this is causing, like you said, the heart attack moment. This is when all of us had to look at how we do business, how we spend money, how we invest. All those things have been rocked to the core. So I'm glad someone like yourself is here sharing the information. For those that need to find you and find more information about what you do, give them some information for where to find you.
Best way to find me is madamoney.com, MADAMMONEY.com. And you can connect with me on all my social media at Ms. Madam Money, MSMADAMMONEY.
Perfect. I got to get me one like that too. We make the Bow Tie Guy website coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Tara, thanks for your time. Everybody be safe out there. Wash your hands, and we'll catch you next time on Business with Benefits.